Hello and welcome to Misaff, the Mosaic International South Asian Film Festival, presented by the Canadian Community Arts Initiative, CCAI. My name is Arshad Khan and I'm the festival director. We are in day 3 of the festival and delighted because we have another world premiere of the film Parallel Lines, and we have the film team with us for a Q&A. Let me now introduce you to our associate programmer, Shala Khan. Hello, Shala.
Hi, Arshad. Nice to be here on this sunny afternoon. I'm so excited about the world premiere of Parallel Lines, an amazing film. And I would like to introduce the director, writer, and producer, Kiran R. Kiran?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you for having us. So I would like to introduce my cast here, the two lead actors of the film, Watson M. Natarajan and Masa Natarajan.
Hi, Ashok.
Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
We are so delighted that you shared your beautiful and excellent suspense thriller film with us. And viewers can go anytime in Canada online from the 4th to the 12th of December onto the website and stream the film anytime during this time. And this Q&A will be made available on Facebook throughout. So watch the film. And so yeah, tell us, Kiran, this is your first feature, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, it's my first feature.
And what a brilliant first feature. What compelled you to write this film? You're the writer, director, and producer. Tell us about the writing of this story.
Well, to be honest, on a very selfish note, this film was made just to make it as a film. Like, I just wanted to make a film. So out of which came the story, and then if I'm going to produce it myself, then I need to know how I have to make it feasible for me to make this film under very tight constraints. So it was like choosing the characters first and then the backdrop and how I can shoot the film in a very tight budget, and then came the subject matter. So that's how the writing process was. So it's a little backwards.
The film script is absolutely incredible. Did you workshop that? Who did you work with on that script? Because I don't believe that just one person could have written this compelling a script.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I wrote it myself. It took me roughly 2 weeks to write. It was all like, it was more like a desperation act to make this
am
film.
in shock. Wait. Did you say you wrote it in 2 weeks?
Yeah. So it was last July when I called up Watson. He was the first person I called up to check whether he would be available for the shoot, even before writing even one word on paper.
Okay,
and
so you did it kind of in a different way, where you
Yeah.
had actors in mind.
Yes.
And how do you know these actors? They're brilliant. Your actors.
Yeah.
Can I just like give an applause to your Shala? How amazing
Thank you,
are
Arshad. Thank you.
these two actors in the film? They blow your mind. It's shocking how good they are. Now, what is their background? Can you please tell us? Please tell us, Masant and Vatsan.
Yeah, I am Mashan Natarajan, and I finished my engineering, and after that I want to be an actor. That's my that's my idea in mind. So I joined the theatre group in Chennai. So I want to practice acting, and before Parallel Lines, I did a movie, and Kiran worked as an editor in this. So that kind of contact we have before, and after finishing the script, he just called me for an audition, and he did the audition, and I got selected.
And Vatsan, what about you?
Hi, this is Watson. I'm a theatre actor in Chennai. So I've been doing regional work in Chennai. When it comes to theatre, I've been doing it for the past 12 years. So we do both English and Tamil theatre. And with respect to films, I've been doing short films, web series, and while doing one such short film, I got introduced to Kiran. So we've already worked together before in a short film. That's how I knew Kiran earlier. So post that, we speak occasionally on any new projects that we work on. And also Kiran worked on a feature film in which I got to meet him again. So that's why we got to know each other. And when Kiran was having this idea of parallel lines, so he contacted us and he said, he's working on this idea, and we got really interested because I've already seen Kiran's work. I've already worked with him, and also I've seen some of his other works. So we got immediately interested and got into this project.
That's so interesting, Kiran. What led to this collaboration? What are what is your background in? Is it in cinema? And what were you doing on these films where you met these actors?
Yeah, my background is engineering, just like what Masant mentioned. I've been an engineer. I mean, I studied engineering. That was information science related to computers. And then my interest was in animation VFX initially. So that was my stream initially. I did a short-term course and got into that. I worked in that stream for about 2 years. And then, but somewhere I felt like filmmaking was where I would belong. So I did a short screenwriting workshop, and that kind of changed the path. Since then onwards, I've been making short films since 2012 onwards. So I made about 5 to 6 short films, and over a period, and after the short films, one point I got to assist a legendary director here called Mr. Maniratnam. And that's when I mean that was also a film where Watson had played a very small role. So, but before that itself, I knew Watson. Like he had come for a premiere of my 40-minute short film, which I made 6 years back. So since then we know each other on and off, and I've been seeing his work. So I knew that this film needed him. Like I don't know. It's just like it was that. Like he was the first person even before I wrote one word on paper, and I needed someone to back me up also, because it was a kind of a very it was more like a push. It was just like I was just jumping into this without even planning much, because it was July I made a call to him. August I wrote the script. August end I did a recce with my cinematographer Sundar in Coimbatore, and September I just assembled my small team, my assistant directors, and purchasing props and costumes and everything. And October 3rd of last year, we went for shoot. And in 25 days, we finished the film. And like, yeah, it was all like just like one after the other. We just kept on going with it. So, yeah.
I had a question for Vasant and Masant and Vatsan, because both of you come from theater background, right? So you could tell when you were acting off each other. But the human psyche, because it deals with like I would love in my dark thoughts to deal with injustices like you dealt with it. What inspired you? What were you thinking when you were acting out those roles? Did you do some research? Did you play off each other, or did you discuss the roles between you and Masan? How did you come
Yeah.
about?
Yes, before shooting, we had a reading session in Chennai. Me and Watson and Kiran meeting, and we just read the whole script in a day, and we planned to shoot nearly after 1 month of the reading session. And before the shoot, the whole team gathered before 1 week of the shoot. So we just rehearsing and discussing how the character should play, and why the character is like this. That type of question I discussed with Kiran. And discussing I asked and Watson helped me a lot, because he's an experienced artist. He done many stage plays. So he helped me a lot in the character to build up. And Kiran, of course, before Parallel Lines, I did a movie called 99 Miles, and it's over expressing. And in Parallel Lines, I just have to reduce my expressions and little bit like that expression. So he helped me a lot in this.
Nice. And what about you, Watson?
Yeah, like Masan said, the process is what actually helped us, right? Because we're all interested towards or keen towards rehearsing and then getting on to a film or shoot, right? So that really helped. With Kiran, we had 2 reading sessions, and then, as Masan said, the main thing that helped us as actors is we all, got together as a team. I mean, we stayed there in one place for the whole entire 25 days. So that really helped.
Okay.
We had nothing else to think of, right? We had nothing else to even be bothered about. So the only thing we had to do was eat, sleep, and then go to shoot. And then before every day, before the shoot every day, we go for a rehearsal, and we had the privilege to, go to the real place where we're going to shoot and do a mock rehearsal and all that, and that
Okay.
really helped. And also to not reveal much about how we prepared for the role and all, because that is going to give away what this is about. But these characters are not what we all see on a day-to-day basis. So we couldn't really get a real life example or an example from which we could pick and see how this character would come along, right? We just had we all as a personal and we all have that angst, and we have those urges as a person to anything that happens. We all have that urge, which only exaggerated becomes these kind of characters. So that is the I think that is a spark, or that is where we depended on to build this character. And we had Kiran throughout the process, right? So whatever we do, he never used to say do this, but he always said what we shouldn't do. So that's the no that's the toughest thing. That's what we also expected, because as actors, also from a theatre background, so we know we're all keen to explore. We try to do different things, but that may not work every time for every script, right? So he had that vision. So he had the vision that was very that actually put us in place. So he had how these characters should look like and react. So we had something in mind as how if as a character would react on certain situations, and he had everything in place. So I think that process and what he wanted and what he didn't want, right? So that is what I think we looked up to.
Yeah, it shows beautifully on the screen. I think it just comes across beautifully on the screen what you as an actor wanted, Karen, what you wanted as a director as well, and the story that you wanted to be told. I'm sure. What are your thoughts regarding the actors and their roles?
It's also the first time, I mean, and I'm working with professional actors. The kind of short films that I've done throughout my life were all with my very closest friends who are also involved in this project behind the camera, and they are credited as creative producers in the film. But when working with these guys, like, it was much more easier for me because they would know their lines in and out. I need not even tell them to do that, but they will know their lines from the entire script. They knew the entire script forwards and backwards. So any place I can, even like if I can't shoot one particular scene one particular day due to some reasons, I can immediately shift to another scene, or maybe just capture a small portion of something else in that place, and they'll be able to do it. And even in terms of staging and blocking, that was much easier to change in the last minute, because they knew their lines all the time. And yeah, they are out and out professionals. And the shooting process for this film also required a certain amount of spontaneity, which they had, because there were times when we were losing light and we had to shoot it very fast. And because they were into those characters really well, like they were able to perform. Like there were times when it was just like 1 or 2 takes and we'll be done with it. And even in the film, you could see a lot of things are just shot, reverse shot, or just like profile. So it's just keeping it as close as possible without massive coverage in terms of talkie portions. And that's where talkie portions is where the story is much revealed in the film too. So yeah.
We have questions coming in, but my question for you is, I'm actually quite astounded that a film that is essentially about violence against women, is full of only men. And I think that's incredible. That's an incredible way that you dealt with it, because I mean, violence against women is not a women's issue, it is a men's issue. And I think the way that you have weaved that story in is Very, very, very powerful. Meta Ratnam has a question. What was the inspiration for the story? Is it purely fiction or inspired from real life incidents or experience?
Purely fictional. I mean, when people watch this film, they will know. But at the same time, there are bits and traces of each one of us in it, because the film deals with how we befriend someone using social media, and how it can lead to something in a good way and bad way, both ways. And at the same time, how we react instantaneously to certain issues on social media just because we are not physically visible to anyone else. So it's more like we wear masks when we are on social media. So we just express whatever we feel like. And so this is also partly discussed in the film. I think that's something that I drew from real life. But apart from that, everything is fiction.
The film has so many twists and turns. It is a most unpredictable story. Just when you think you know where it's going, it goes somewhere else. Really, bravo. We have another question from Vandita Mitapai. What was the biggest difficulty or hindrance you faced during the shoot?
Well, the weather. The initial shooting schedule was less than 15 days, 14 days. And we were on track for the first 7 to 8 days. We finished like 50% of the film, and we were really happy about it. And then suddenly there was a cyclone in Tamil Nadu, in India,
Oh.
and that just changed our schedule. And every day since then on, like we were shooting like literally 2 shots a day, 3 shots a day. We just didn't want the day to go waste, so we just take the camera, go shoot something, and return. That actually prolonged the process. But at the same time, when you look at the climax in the film, the entire wind that is there in the last scene, that was actually not planned, and that's because of the change in the weather. We shot it over a period of 3 days, and luckily it was only on the edit table that I even realized the continuity in wind that actually stitched the whole scene together, and that even elevated the whole emotion in that scene. So happy accidents also happen, but yeah.
Well, you really took excellent advantage of those happy accidents. Arun Kumar has a question for Vatsan. Since you have prior experience working in many other projects, what is the one thing that made you get on board this project? Script or the confidence in Kiran?
I would say both, because I've worked with Kiran and I've also seen his works, and I've always felt the strongest points that Kiran comes across as is the screenplay, right? So he has a very strong background with that, and I've seen most all his works. So I would say both.
Yeah, the screenplay is full of surprises. I mean, literally, it's an when maybe some people haven't seen it, but it's an edge of your seat kind of thriller. It's crazy how you have used just two actors to set up such a complex and massive story. I want to know what did the actors contribute, Kiran? How to the script? I mean, how did they contribute to the changes in the script, or did it change, or was it exactly what you wrote is what they performed?
Uh, a few things changed. Like example, it was only while shooting the film I understood it, as in like I got to understand how Watson and Masant looked on camera. So that helped me in. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's also their physicality that brought a lot of changes to the way the film is even perceived. Because Masant's casting was something of a tricky choice. He was my first choice, but there were a few people, close friends, who suggested that maybe you could try someone else. Because when they read the script, they saw something else in the way they imagined Masant's character. But when I casted him and when we were on during shoot times, when they both were on the screen, like you can see the physical presence itself talking a lot, and that actually helped me and even cut down on a lot of dialogues that Masant had in a few places, because it was established just like if they are in the screen, in the frame. So I think that's one of the biggest contributions which they brought in indirectly.
Harish Aditya has a question. Did you write a synopsis or a broad story before you delved into the screenplay? And how much of it evolved on set when you were blocking scenes? Like, I think that's similar to what I was asking.
Yeah. What's the no, there was no synopsis, nothing. It was just that a couple of days of having the thought in my mind as to how this film could be, like the complete film in my head. And then I started writing it. Synopsis came in only when I started submitting the film to festivals and synopsis logline and everything. So
That's so funny. You're so inspiring, Kiran, because I tell you, we're so delighted that you're really an out of the box thinking filmmaker, because like here we are asking you questions. Did you work with a story synopsis and then expand this and that, the other? And you're like, nope, didn't do that. Did you have did you have a script and then you hired? You're like, no, I hired my actors before I made the film. So it's wonderful to see this kind of freshness, and it's very evident in your storytelling. You have a freshness, and your performers really trust you, and they are really vulnerable, in this thing. So what were the challenges that you had, like with directing actors who are professional and were of this caliber?
not challenges. It's not exact. Yeah, challenge as in a good way. The job was much easier for me to direct them. I just have to tell them, like what Watson was mentioning. I just have to tell them what not to do, and that's enough for me to convey. And they would know. I mean, it's also the trust. It's a mutual trust that they had in me and the script. And we all knew that when this film, as a film, when it comes out, we all will be what to say. We'll all have our share of appreciation because of the script. I mean, the things that demanded in the script, and if we could achieve it. But apart from that, I think it was really a wonderful experience working with these two actors, particularly Watson, I have to say, because he's experienced. So yeah.
And your cinematography is so beautiful. Yeah. It really is. Really gave us a sense of space. Yeah, it really gave us a sense of where we are. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the credit definitely goes to Sundar Ramkrishnan. He's also he was an independent filmmaker, as in like he made an independent film. And then he's right now working in mainstream films. So he was also one of the first choices that I had when I thought I'll do this independently. And I think the cinematic visual quality that you have in the film is purely because of him. Because there were times when he would just own the film, like while shooting, he will say that no, this shot wouldn't work because there's no light. And we get to see that because there's a consistency, because also it was a very small crew. We didn't have a lot of resources. It was mostly natural light. He would just have an additional LED at times. A lot of things were there in the script, but even additionally, he would just be there with additional lights, and like, yeah, it's there. I mean, when people get to see it, yeah, they will know that.
Absolutely. I think that people are going to be very, very moved by this film because, it's a suspense thriller, but it's so emotionally, it's so moving as well because, I can't say why. You have to see the film for why, but, it's making an examination of social media, it examines how social media portrays people and how realities so shockingly different sometimes, and how expectations versus reality, what happens and what can happen, and then also the role of of justice. Justice plays a big role, personal justice, and also the kind of things we may say on social media and but in reality how we may really feel about them. So this is a very psychological film. It's a very psychological thriller, which I find, a very mature mind writes films like that. What has been your inspiration to write this film?
Inspiration. I'm unable to think of anything right now. It's just that it's a kind of film that I would like to watch. I mean, it starts with that generally. When you write something, you want to make sure that, as an audience, I want to be engrossed in the storytelling. It has to be consistently engaging, but at the same time, the twists and turns that you mentioned should also not be gimmicky, as in like just for the sake of it. Rather, just be organically placed in the story. And the subject matter, in one way, even if I'm not mentioning what it is, it is something that we read every time, every day in our lives, daily lives. So it's there every place where you turn on. In fact, there were scenes in the film where Watson hands over his phone to Masant. Right, a couple of scenes. While shooting, I thought, like, what if the content on the phone might be displayed, gets recorded? So I thought, like, okay, let's really have an article. I just Googled something, just the keywords of the subject matter, and it was there. It's exactly what Masa Watson talks about in that scene, and it was there. And same thing happened repeatedly, like in another scene. So that just makes you feel so. I mean, it's shocking. At the same time, I feel the film is also quite relevant to what the time that we are living right now.
It is absolutely relevant to the times we're living right now. That's absolutely right. Dina Karan Balakrishna has a question for Masant. Your performance evolves exponentially through the film. Did you actually plan that way, or was it more natural? Or did it come naturally, I guess?
No. I did not plan anything for the character, but that's it. We gathered before the 1 week of shoot, so that helped me a lot to get into the character. Kiran helped me a lot to get into the character, because he said what not to do. Yeah, as Watson said that he said what not to do, and it's a thing. The starting thing is if you want to get into the character, just follow the director. That's it.
That's right. If you want to do a good job, you follow directions. That's what the director is for. But what's very important is the director also respect the actor and understand that they are bringing a lot to the table, and also to give them their space. And it seems very evident that this is a beautiful collaboration with a lot of respect for director and for actors. So it's very, very well done. Just before we wrap up, I want to know, what are your thoughts about having a world premiere, of your film? Usually we would invite you on a red carpet, invite you to Canada, to Mississauga, our city, and it's usually, our festival takes place in August, and we would have met you all, you would have met your fans, it would have been in a theater. Sorry, we can't do that this year. What have your challenges been for COVID, for example? You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. First of all, thank you so much for having us and the film getting premiered here. I mean, we never expected a world premiere happening somewhere outside India. We thought it would happen locally. But yeah, I mean, this COVID really messed things up for everyone. So we are still trying to cope up with it and start work on something else soon. But this event and the selection and this Q&A, everything is turning out to be positive for us, because this is the first audience that we are getting. And because actually I have to tell you this, Watson and Masant haven't seen the film yet. All that they were part of was during the ADR early in the year. And actually, in fact, most of my team members, including the cinematographer, my assistants, his assistants, a lot of them have not seen the film at all. I'm just trying to hold all the curiosity so that when the time is right, I would like to show them the best way possible in the large screen. So
it has to be seen on the large screen. It has to be seen in a cinema, and you have to bring tissue, because you're going to be wiping the sweat, because I got very sweaty watching the film. It's very stressful. I'll be really honest with you. I mean, all the way till the end, and it goes back and forth in time, but never ever loses focus, because these actors have done such a good job of bringing you in and keeping your attention, and through via their performance. I'm sure Shala would agree with me. Shala, you're on mute.
I was like, it was me. Arshad, I agree with you, because the film was slow, and then it's like a slow burn. It's like, like how you turn the stove on and on and on and on, and absolute till the end when it just boils over. And I'm like, no, it's not going to happen, but it did. So kudos to the actors and the director as well, because like you said, it's a story which you see every day on social media. These are what people think, the dark thoughts, but it never gets, I guess people want to do something about it, but it never gets done. But you do wish that something gets justice like this does prevail. So yeah, and it's like, so kudos to the actors and the director as well, because and without giving the storyline away, it was like I was telling Arshad, I was like, Arshad, like when you just think that, oh, this is it. No, this wasn't it. It just kept on going.
Exactly. The twists and turns, as Kiran, you were saying, are they're very believable. They're very natural. They're very much like, this is what we would think to do. This is what we think. And then yet he does some clever things, which you never expect. So when you keep, changing the perceptions and expectations of the viewer that way, I think that's what makes a successful thriller. So I think you've done very, very well, and I cannot wait for the world to watch this beautiful, masterful first feature by Kiran R. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you, Masan. Thank you, Vatsan. Thank you, Shaila Khan.
Thank you.
And Rakshan, for this beautiful film, for bringing it to Misaff, to bringing it to Canada. Our audiences across Canada are going to enjoy it. The Misaff Film Festival goes on from the 4th to the 12th of December. All the films are available for streaming. Please share on social media at Mosaic_Misaff and hashtag Misaff20 and tell your friends about it. And thank you all for joining us, and see you at the movies.